All right, so I'm going to chat with you a little bit today through video up in my little workout loft area. So I apologize for the craziness behind me. So I'm sorry that I can't be there with you guys on this first class of your first true experience in exercise science, but hopefully this will do. I just came from pickleball, so this is my outfit. Sorry. Thursday's class is I'm going to have a guest lecturer come in. She is taught at Tunkhannock and the University of Scranton for anatomy, physiology, and all of the sciences. So please treat her with respect. She's an awesome, fun human. So super knowledgeable. Be kind to her. So first things to go over would be the syllabus. Okay. So you guys had me for health and wellness. And I ran that pretty lax because it's a lax course, right? The way the program is set up, we have experiential courses and we have courses that are clinical practicals, right? This one is a practical. You need to be able to do these things. This is no jokes. You need to have it. So it's a lot more serious and it's a lot more, if you don't know it, bad things happen. So the way that it's set up, I'm sure that you checked out the syllabus already. Maybe you didn't. So a couple rules right from the gets. You get 3 missed classes. 3. All right? I don't care why you miss them. You get 3. After that, I don't care if they're excused, unexcused. Unless something is super crazy, you get 3 and then you drop a letter grade. So be smart. Don't take those free 3 at the beginning and then wonder, when something actually comes up later on in the semester that you're getting penalized when you took, days off because you wanted to sleep a little bit more. The other thing is you can't be late. We get an hour and 15 minutes twice a week to cover a lot of stuff, and you can't be late for class. So I will give you a 10-minute window, though I will have a conversation with you if you're consistently at that 6-minute mark. 10 minutes, cut off, okay? If you're in after that time, don't even bother showing up. Doesn't count for a class for you, okay? You can come in and learn, but it counts as an absence, okay? That's how we're rolling. There are going to be a couple graded assignments. One, every week you're going to have a workbook, okay? Some of the stuff we're going to cover in class, some of the stuff you have to do on your own. The workbook has stuff to prepare you for the exam. A lot of the exam questions are nested within the workbook, okay? So if you complete the workbook, you are going to set yourself up for success on the exams, okay? So do the workbooks every week. I forget what they're worth, 15 points every week. They are due by Sunday night. If it's late, you get penalties, okay? Just do it. And it's going to be graded. So, you can't just, half tush it. Do it for real. Save it. Use it to study for the exams. Next ones are practicums. There's 4 practicums throughout the semester. This is where you are demonstrating your ability in kinesiology, showing the things that you've learned. Can you palpate where the right areas are? Can you point to where certain things are? These are actual demonstrations that you know what you should know. And then finally, midterm and final exam. Okay, I'm going to provide you with all the tools to be successful at this. There are the workbooks every week. There are study guides, okay? But you need to do the work. You need to do the work. Kinesiology has a lot of memorization. I'm going to try to set us up in our classes to apply all the things, but at the heart of it, you need to memorize to be able to apply, okay? So midterm is going to cover chapters 1 through 7, and spoiler, final exam is cumulative, okay? There's going to be multiple choice. There's going to be short answers. You need to know this stuff. If you know it, if you go through these labs and you are successful at them and review them and know the things to be able to apply it, you're golden, okay? But if you don't, you're not going to be successful. That's the bottom line. I am here to help you through all of it, but you need to put in the work. The way that we're going to run the classes is you need to come in prepared, okay? You need to read ahead of time because I want to do as much hands-on activities for you to apply that knowledge when you come into the class. If I see that you have come in and you are not prepared, you have not read, you don't know, any of the things that I'm talking about, I'm probably just going to ask you to leave, okay? Because that's not a productive experience for anyone. If I have to sit and explain the basic things that you should have read before coming into the class, and now you're just slowing down. It's being selfish, okay? Come in prepared. Read a chapter a week. A chapter a week. You can do it. Read a chapter a week, okay? Those are the main things. If at any point you start to struggle throughout the semester, come to me for help. I'm here to help you out, okay? I am not here. I do not want anyone to fail. That is not my point. That is not what I'm aiming for. What I want is success out of all of you. And especially in the beginning chapters, if you don't lay that foundation and you aren't super confident in it, you're going to struggle as you go on. So swallow your pride. Ask me for help. I will sit and I will meet with you and I will go through things with you until you get it. That's what I'm here for. As the teacher of this course and as your advisor, that's what I'm here for. Chemistry, I can't help you. I'm sorry, I can't help you. This stuff I can help you with, all right? So when you need help, ask for help before you get too deep, okay? So we got that all squared away. Questions? Shoot me an email. I'll answer them. Now let's get into the topic for this week. We're just covering the basics. I'm going to hit on a couple things. I'm going to have you do a couple things. I'm going to demonstrate a couple things. And then you're going to go with the guest lecturer on Thursday. And she's going to show you a couple things. Okay? So the very first thing to cover. This is essential. Okay? For all kinesiology is the anatomical model. This is how we set up when we talk about things, okay? Everything, this is the default setting. Let's call it that. Default setting is this. Head forward. You can't see my feet. Forward. They're not doing some sort of weird duck stance. My hands forward. So when we talk about hands, okay? A little thing to think about. This is how I remember it. This is prone. This is supine. Prone, supine. If you can hold soup in it, supine. If you can't, prone. Supine. Can I hold soup? Got it. Supine. Got it? All right. So this is the anatomical model. This is me. All right. So let's talk about some things that might be different. And you say what's wrong. I'm not going to be able to tell you if you're right or wrong because this is a video, but this seems pretty basic. So I'll tell you the answer afterward. Okay, first one. Let's go with, hold on. There you go. Did you catch it? What's wrong? There we go. Okay, supine. I had it prone. It has to be supine. Okay, the next one. Let's say I have this guy pointing this way. That's kind of easy because I told you what was wrong. Foot, gotta face forward, okay? How about this? Do you get it? My head, facing the wrong way. Gotta face forward, okay? How about this? Arms, here. That's how it has to be. So when we talk about the anatomical model, this is 0 degrees. 0 degrees. Okay? So every time we talk about this stuff, that is the starting point. Pretty clear, right? You feel good about it? Okay. Now the next one. Next important point for this lecture, directional terms. Okay? We're going into big people land. We're using big people terms. Okay? So, a couple big terms. Anterior, posterior, okay? Anterior, towards the front. Posterior, towards the back, okay? What's the French term? Like, there's a term for the tush. That's like a, I don't know. But that's it. Think of that, right? Anterior, towards the front. Posterior, towards the back. Okay. Next one. Superior, inferior. Above, below. Superior, above. Inferior, below, right? You should know this from like societal things. Superior, inferior. The shoulder, superior, to the elbow, right? The hip, superior to the knee. The ankle, inferior to the knee. Got it? All right. Next one is medial and lateral. So this is talking about the midline. Towards the midline is medial. Away from the midline is lateral. So mid is easy, right? Middle, medial. And I think of lateral heading towards your lats, right? Medial, lateral. So the ulna in this position, medial to the radius, okay? The sternum, the sternum is medial to the shoulder. You get it? All right. Proximal and distal. This is closer or farther from the trunk. So proximal is going to be closer to the trunk. Distal, more distant from the trunk. Proximal, closer. Distal, distant. Got it? All right, so the elbow is proximal to the wrist. Okay? The head is distal to the belly button. Good. I feel like you're catching on. All right. Superficial and deep. Superficial is toward the surface. Deep is away from the surface. So skin is going to be superficial to the muscle. Right? It's above it. Good. And the last one, which are super fun words to say, episcolateral and contralateral. Episcolateral means the same side. Contralateral means opposite. Okay? The right hand, and the right foot are episcolateral. The right hand and the left hand are contralateral. Contradict, right? Okay. So, why do we say this? Proper terminology is super important. And things can be confusing without the proper terminology. So when we go ahead and we put them into play and we are talking about where things are located in regards to other things, it's important that we use the proper terminology. What I would suggest to you to really get a grasp on these, and the lab does some of it, the workbook, is start nerding out in your head, right? Start thinking about all the things using this terminology that you can do, right? Like as you're brushing your teeth, you know, oh, my mouth is distal to my knees or my hips, right? You know, my left knee is contralateral to my right knee. Start saying these things as you're doing stuff. Like, it's super important to just keep doing it. The more you do it, whether it's out loud, whether you're talking to other people in this class and just being nerdy, it's okay. It's going to help you learn. If you're talking about anterior, posterior, start using those terms either within your head or talking to your classmates, right? Just keep going at it. These are the foundation. Having this terminology really just set is the key to success in kinesiology, which is going to lay the foundation for physiology and all of your strength and conditioning stuff. This is it, all right? Know it, practice it, learn it, okay? Let's see, some of the things that are in the lab. The head is blank to the pelvis. Okay, so a couple of the options. Medial. The head is blank to the pelvis, medial. What's medial mean again? Towards the center, towards the middle. This way. Now that one doesn't fit. Caudal, superior, or ventral. Well, we didn't really go over caudal or ventral. So do you want to guess which one it is? Superior. Okay? Superior. Above. Right? The bicep muscle is blank to the skin. What do you think? Think about it. deep, good, and blank to the bone, superficial, right? Think about where it lays. So these are all the things that you need to start putting into play. Each of these words, think about as you go through your movements, really think about what they mean. Start putting them into action. That's the best thing you could do to be successful at this. All right. Let's see. And then we have, I think in the lab it talks about putting dots on your partner. You can do this by yourself, or you can talk to a partner. Just start yelling out different things, like proximal to your wrist. If you are going to touch a point that is proximal to your wrist, what would it be? What do you think? So this means away from the trunk. Boop. Got it. Boop. Got it. Right? All of these are proximal to your wrist. Lateral to your sternum. What's lateral? Opposite of medial. Towards the medial. Lateral means towards your lats. Right? Let's think of it that way. Here's your sternum. Boop. Boop. All of these away from your midline. Okay? So there's a couple more in the lab. Practice them with a partner. Practice it with your dog, cat. I don't know. Practice it on yourself. Whatever it is, get in the habit of testing yourself, quizzing yourself on these things. Okay? Good. Now things are going to get a little bit more complex. Planes. Planes, planes, planes. Excuse me. So, with planes, our body is broken into 3 different areas. The first one is the sagittal plane. This is, imagine that our body has a plane going this way, going that way. Anterior, posterior, right? Now you get it. You're getting the terms. Look at us nerding out. Okay? Cuts right through my nose. Nose, sternum, pelvic region. That's the plane. So this is dividing the body into the right and left. The way that I kind of think of it and remember it, sagittal plane is where different things can sag, right? Whether we're talking about like bits or we're talking about if you have a stroke, right? Face sags, okay? You can see the sag when you break it here. Sagittal plane, it sags, breaks you into right and left, okay? What kind of movements are in these planes? Flexion, extension. Flexion, extension. These are the main ones in this plane. The next plane is the frontal plane. Imagine something going right through shoulders, straight down, hips, okay? So it's breaking me into a front and a back. So this is also called the coronal frame. So a kind of way that I remember it, frontal, obviously you could see the full frontal, or coronal, where do you drink the Corona? If you're split in half, you can't drink a Corona, okay? You need your whole mouth. So go ahead, drink the Corona. So this one goes through the middle of my head all the way down, and abduction, adduction happens in this plane. A way that I remember abduction and abduction, okay? Ab is away, adduction, you're adding it to your body, okay? Abduction, adduction, adding it in. Okay, these are all in the same plane. This is your frontal coronal plane. And the last one is the transverse planes. Top, bottom. Okay, these are going to be your rotations. Okay, big guy in a little jacket. That is your transverse plane. I have no fun way to remember it. Just transverse, it's cut in half, right? Like in the half. So with each one, different ways that it splits us and different movements occur in that plane. Okay, so with these, I think we have, the lab just sort of covers it and you talk about it, which motions happen in those planes. I talked about them a little bit. We have the sagittal. What do we have? What do we have? Sagittarius likes to flex. Flexion, extension, right? Frontal, abduction, adduction, transverse rotation. We got it. Got it. All right. So go through the labs, go through the motions that are in there. and figure out which area works. Now this is where things are going to get a little bit trickier. With these planes, we have axes of motion, okay? Axes of motion are going to be perpendicular to the movement, okay? So we have sagittal plane. What's the sagittal plane? It sags, splits here, right? So the axis that happens here is actually the opposite. It's frontal. So it is 90 degrees. It is perpendicular to the plane. So it is the frontal axis goes through the sagittal plane. So imagine that a rod goes through here. What kind of motion can happen if, there we go, a rod is there, right? This is a rod. Flexion, extension. Flexion, extension. Okay? So the frontal axis, perpendicular to the sagittal plane, flexion, extension. 90 degrees. Perpendicular. Okay? So now, the opposite one, sagittal, where it goes through my ears, or the frontal plane through my ears, and it is the sagittal axis. So that is here. Okay, imagine a rod going right here. What kind of motion can happen here? Not this, right? This. Abduction, adduction. Okay, so let's go from the beginning. We have the sagittal axis goes through the frontal plane for abduction, adduction. Okay, the pen is going to be your best friend on the tests and stuff. Put it to see what kind of motion you could do with it. Okay, here, the only motion I could do is here. Here, the only motion I could do is here. It's a rod that goes right through. That's all that's allowed. All right, so we have frontal, goes side to side in the sagittal plane, flexion, extension. We have sagittal. It goes front to back in the frontal plane, adduction, abduction, adduction. Okay, and the last one is going to be the vertical axis. Boop. Right? Directly through what would be the transverse plane. Okay? So what kind of motion happens there? That's a hint. It's rotation. It's rotation. That's the hint. Okay? So I want you to take a little time to work through those different key points. Okay? Practice. Go through different motions to see what would be and what wouldn't be. What exercises fall into those motions to make it what plane and what axes. So think about different things like a squat, right? When we talk about these things, it's going to be the main area that's involved. Squat. Squat. What do you think? What plane is this moving in? Flexion, extension. Okay, so if it's flexion, extension, what do we have? What do we know? Sagittal plane, frontal axis. Nailed it. You guys got it. All right, so always remember the perpendicular rule, that axis is always 90 degrees to the plane of movement. Feel good about it? Super duper. Another key terms, osteokinematic. We're jumping to joints. Sorry, I didn't warn you. Jumping to joints. Osteokinematic. It's a fun dinner party word. Throw it out. See how many friends you get. Osteokinematic. This is visible bone movement. What do we see? Right? What can we see? We can see that. Right? Pretty much just that. We see it. There it is. Bending. Then we have arthrokinematic. This is going to be things when the joint rolls, glides, spins. So spoiler, doesn't do it. Does it? Does it? Okay? So those are just key terms to remember. Osteokinematic, arthrokinematic. Osteo we can see. Arthro, we cannot. It just happens. We can't really see what's happening. So when we talk about joints, degrees of freedom, this is how many directions the joint moves in. One, plane. It just goes in one plane. Unilateral. Or, I'm sorry, uniaxial. And this would be hinge joints, okay? Hinge joints are just one motion that they allow for. This guy, right? So this is what it does. If your elbow is doing left and right and all around, you're weird, right? Something's broken, go to a doctor, okay? That's it. This is it, right? That's it. Doesn't go any other way. This is what it does. It's great at it. Just uniaxial, one axle, okay? Another one, biaxial. This goes on two planes. This would be, you gonna guess, what part of your body allows for two different directional movements in the joints? What part of your body? Do you get it? It's the wrist. It's the wrist, okay? There it is, okay? That is biaxial. And now the next one, the triaxial. This goes in three planes. We have ball and socket joints. Do you want to name them? It's an extensive list. Shoulder, hip, okay? So what happens is the more degrees of freedom means that you are going to have more mobility. 100%, right? Try to throw a baseball with your knee. It's not going to happen. You can't do it. Shoulder, all of those motions, right? But what's the trade-off? Less stability, okay? When we talk about our ball and socket joints, it is a ball. They didn't get creative in the name. It is literally a ball and a socket, right? The hip has a pretty good girdle for it. It holds it in pretty well. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Unfortunately, the shoulder is not as deep. So many shoulder injuries happen because there's so little stability. So you have so much motion, right? Every direction, and it's just a super small girdle. So your range of motion, huge. But your stability is going to be sacrificed for it. So when we talk about putting this into rehabilitation ideas, right? When we are talking about rehab and getting someone fit to play again, what you're going to do is you're going to start with simple planes and then go on to multiple planes. So if you're going to rehab someone with a specific injury, you're only going to keep them to one plane of motion. What plane is that? What do you got? Frontal plane, what axis? Sagittal, okay? This could be just the place you keep them for a shoulder rehab. Then you're going to move on to more planes, okay? Abduction, adduction, right? So all of these things are going to be part of how we train people. Understanding these joints and the mechanisms involved in them come into play more than just knowing what it is, but it's going to be super important for when we're training individuals to be stronger, faster, all of those things, but also when we're working with an individual that's come back from an injury. How do we treat them? How do we make it better? Okay, so we got that one, we got that one. We have the different joints. Okay, so I think the next thing that I want to talk about, and it's going to come more into play when we talk about training people and rehabilitation, okay, is the kinetic chain. The kinetic chain that we create. So as you get into the NCSA, CSCS tests, ACSM tests, these are going to be key questions. And it's called, it discusses an open kinetic chain versus a closed kinetic chain. So if you're going to go sit on a chair right now, let's say it's a high top table, high chair, and you are, let's pretend you're on my height, right? A delightful 5'2", maybe 5'3" on a good day, right? So I'm sitting on this chair, having a good time. My feet aren't on the ground. I'm a tiny human. My feet are not on the ground. They are loose. This is an open kinetic chain. This means that the end part, the most distal part, is grounded. There is no movement, or it is movement, okay? When it's open, there is movement allowed. Closed means there is no movement involved. So this is super important when we talk about different types of exercises that we go through. Hold on, just let me find the right page. Right. All right. So it's when the most distal point is fixed. A squat, right? Closed kinetic chain. My feet can't move. They are in a fixed position. Now let's challenge that a little bit, right? If you are doing a leg press, open or closed? Think about it for a second. It's open, right? Your feet are actually moving when you do a leg press, okay? A leg extension machine. Tell me about it. What's happening with the distal part? It's moving. So it makes it open. Nailed it. Okay, so these are all the different types of things. Let's talk about walking. Walking. Trick question. There's two parts to walking. When we talk about motions that have multiple parts, we go with the default one, which would be this position, right? Feet are on the ground. Therefore, closed. But if we're in the swing phase, open. Good. All right, let's talk about different activities. Swimming. What is it? Open or closed chain? It's open. There is nothing fixed on either end of the motion, okay? These are going to be key things when we start to plan out exercises for individuals. As we're working with people with injuries or non-injuries, different limitations, that's going to impact whether we choose closed kinetic chain or open kinetic chains for them to work through, okay? So that's why all this is important. So what I ask of you, as you watch this video, don't watch the video, really hope you watch the video, is to go through and start putting these things into action. Start thinking about everything in these terms. If you are going to be successful as an exercise scientist, as an exercise physiologist, these terms are going to be second nature to you. Start now. Learn them, practice them, practice them, practice them. It is the best thing that you could do for yourself. Nerd out and say to other people in the class, oh, I don't even know. I can't come up with a good example right now. But, use the proximal, distal, superior, inferior, all these terms on a regular basis so that they become normal for you. If these aren't normal for you, if they aren't part of just the knowledge that you have, you're setting yourself up for failure. Do it right. Practice these. Go through the workbook and figure it all out. All right? All right, so any questions from this video, shoot me an email. Okay? Work through the workbook. Get it done. All right. Good luck. Be nice on Thursday, and I will see you in a week. 2 weeks? A week, Tuesday. Yeah, I'll see you then. Take care.